PAFNation presents a Zero Heroes Entertainment Production!
Welcome to the No Call No Show with your host, LevelZero.
Welcome back to the No Call No Show. I am your host, LevelZero, joined today by my good friend Muzzle.
Hey, what's up?
And my good buddy Hound.
It's me.
Today's show is brought to you by Sin City Medic. They are our exclusive merchandiser. It's owned and operated by our good buddy Mokay out of Las Vegas, Nevada. He does apparel, decals, koozies, license plate covers, keychains, all that cool stuff. And it's all custom, and he does free quotes. So if you are trying to get something made for your operation or just for yourself, then go to his website at sincitymedic.weebly.com, shoot him an email, give him a design idea, and he should get back to you with a quote of how much it'll cost. And he's a pretty cool dude. So head on over there and check out his work. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very sober podcast. Not emotionally, we just don't have any booze today, which is upsetting. It's a Sunday morning. We should be getting plastered. I mean, it's God's day, right? So
we're trying something new, though, right?
I guess. Efficient? Trying to be efficient?
Is that, oh.
I just forgot.
That's not going to help.
I just forgot to buy booze, to be honest.
No.
But I've got my Monster, so that works. It's all part of the amazing lifestyle that I developed working in public safety.
No, of course. Well known for like its good nutritional decisions and, you know, just good lifestyle all over, right?
Yeah. I don't think I identified a single healthy activity or thing to help me get through my career so far.
I can't think of one either.
It's just a blur of fucking fast food and chemicals constantly streaming into my body.
Yeah, this silence on my mic is me desperately trying to think of something healthy that happened during like those 11 years on the ambulance, and I got nothing.
For a while I was rock climbing pretty heavy, and I'll let you know right now, I was super fuckable. I mean, wow. But now, like I look like the type of guy who probably watched a documentary about gamma rays, which happened yesterday. So, you know.
That's a very strange go-to. Like, that's your conception of like somebody who is out of shape.
Right. Well, but when you look at me, do you think I want to fuck that guy? Or do you look at me and think, I bet he knows a lot about satellites?
I mean, I guess if this is a binary decision, then yeah, I guess that second one. There's only two choices. Very well.
That guy has for sure gone to Little Caesars, and it was not because he was short on funds. That was a choice he made over other potential choices.
Little Caesars was like the go-to pizza place on the ambulance, though, right? Because you could always walk in and be like, I had $5. Please give me something close to a pizza.
Shit's hot and ready.
Right.
Then you just leave it up in the dashboard the whole shift.
I hate how much I love fast food. If you think about it, there's no reason that every day, all day, I should be thinking, I really want a burger made by a depressed 15-year-old. But that's what I want almost all the time. Or a burrito.
Super nachos.
For me, it was those terrible convenience store hot dogs. Remember those? They're not even really meat. They're just meat flavored.
I get down with some of those.
Yeah. Awful. Like, yeah, it makes me sad to hear myself saying these words out loud.
I like those Dorito deep fried cheese things that 7-Eleven had.
Yeah, it's like all this stuff that like it's food, you know, with like quotation marks around it. Like technically you can digest it, but you don't derive any nutritional benefit from it. Like it's just a thing for your mouth to do while you're waiting to die.
Whenever I would have students ask me how I liked my job, I would just respond with whatever depressing thing I'd done the day before that had nothing to do with EMS. Like, do you like working? Do you like doing this job? You know, saving lives. It must be pretty special. And I'd just be like, yesterday I got off at 7:00 in the morning. I hit McDonald's on the way home. When I got home, I spent 3 hours drinking a bottle of rum. Then I took Ambien. Then I woke up, cried, came back here, and now you're in my ambulance. So, yeah, I love this job.
We had I don't know if you remember this. We had a student once who asked some sort of like incredibly banal question, and your answer was to just take a Big Mac and silently stare at them with like long, uncomfortable eye contact while you ate it in front of them. You held that for like a minute and a half of just like eating this thing intensely in front of this poor 19-year-old child who desperately thought that they were going to learn how to save lives tonight. What's the least healthy thing that either of you can imagine or that you remember doing on the ambulance? Like I do remember having like 3 fast food meals in one day and making it my goal to get out of the seat in the front of the ambulance as little as possible because that would interrupt me playing my little PlayStation. Like I was actively building up plaque on the inside of my heart that whole
like
shift.
when you go into 7-Eleven and spend $20 on.
Wow. That's a good one. $20 at 7-Eleven just on like food.
Yes.
That's amazing.
That's nothing.
That's
So I have a pretty
Zero's like, hold my monster.
I have a pretty hefty love for Ambien. I think it's God's way of saying, sorry about everything. Why don't you just check the fuck out for a few hours? I love Ambien. But I dealt a lot with side effects of Ambien when I first started taking it because I didn't take it responsibly. Not like I was taking it to get lit, but I would take Ambien and then try to do the dishes or I'd be watching a movie or folding laundry or something. Right. And then my fucking brain just shut down and then my body just kept going. And I woke up one morning to discover I had driven a vehicle to 7-Eleven and spent over $300 on cigarettes and Monsters. Now, I was grateful to myself because I wanted those things.
Right. Now you have Monsters and cigarettes for the next couple days.
But it had desperately eaten into my rent money. So that was my thing. I guess the way that you'd spend all your shift just desperately trying to get to a point where you could pull out your video game and check out.
Oh, yeah.
That was me with smoking.
Now, I remember it would be 5 degrees in the middle of the night, like midnight.
And he'd stand
of
there with the
January.
fucking door open.
Yeah, and like, you know, windows open so we can still talk. And LevelZero is standing outside, actively growing icicles on his eyebrows as the wind chill is like, you know, like flash freezing, like all of the plant life around him, like smoking while I'm just playing my video game. We're both desperately trying to pretend we're somewhere else.
Not afraid of the cold.
That was pretty amazing.
I started smoking the Marlboro 72s, the shorter ones, because even though they were smaller, felt like if I could finish one, I had completed a cigarette. And that prevented me from like throwing fucking haymakers into the dashboard on the way to whatever call we were going to. But yeah, cigarettes was mine. Cigarettes I was pretty bad about that.
Yeah, I still retain like a horrific predilection for eating junk food. I don't need it. I can afford better now, but I'm still like that part of my brain has been indelibly scarred. And now I'm just like, yeah, it's just like, you know, it makes me happy. It's the only thing I can look forward to.
I would have like Mike and Ike's and bags of candy. Always.
That sounds amazing.
It's cheaper than Coke.
I thought this was going to be a way more savage conversation.
It's all just us talking about our favorite foods.
I'm over here getting fucking plastered at 9 a.m. and chain smoking and dropping Ambien and driving to the store. And you guys are like, I sure do like my Mike and Ike's. Am I right? It's like the sweetest thing I've ever heard. I got a prescription for benzos. I was really into that. Like if they had a benzo con, right? And like Comic-Con, except it was all about benzos, I would go to that. I'd dress up in everything.
I was gonna say, would you cosplay?
I would. I'd dress up like a Klonopin and
Nice.
And yeah, cosplay is
You know who's real serious when like the other people are like, fucking Klonopin. Yeah, I love it. Right? The people who are just there because they're like slightly curious, but they're not really into the culture. They'd be like, oh, are you a pill? I'm loving this BenzoCon you're pitching. Like,
BenzoCon.
I want to live in the reality where this actually takes place.
2018's our year, baby.
Let's make it happen.
Watch me start BenzoCon and it become like a multi-million-dollar industry of every year of people cosplaying as different pharmaceutical escapes.
80% of EMS would be there.
Yeah, it's just all public service people and like two very confused, like legit addicts. Who are just like, I spent all my rent money to be here. Like, I thought we were going to party, and everybody else is just like, I just want to forget everything.
Who would like, like Comic-Con, they have panelists, or, like Walking Dead, and all those people show up and they do like interviews, the panel interviews.
Yeah, but man, like,
who would we do? Like, would we just get, ladies and gentlemen, you know him from Valium. Give him a good warm welcome as he comes out. And then we just ask the guy who invented Valium questions for 20 minutes before we all fall asleep.
It's just a bunch of like, very stiff board members from Mercola who are just like sitting behind there like, we appreciate your business.
We wouldn't remember any of it. Have to take pictures.
The only pictures you'd get would be from like CCTVs. That'd be the best way for other people to enjoy it. Watch CCTV footage of BenzoCon.
You know how like sometimes you can go to YouTube and just like watch those live streams of like people have like a house full of like kittens or puppies or whatever, and just like, here, this is for really okay. So this is like my wife when she comes home from work, she's like, I want to de-stress. I want to watch kittens. So like we just like click on a live stream. It's just like a, fucking kitten house where people raise 50 kittens. I'm imagining that at BenzoCon where you just click it and you just like watch like 400 EMS people just kind of like numbly bumping into each other and like sort of like mumbling apologies.
I'm going to be honest. I worry less about the mental health of people who would throw and or attend BenzoCon than the person who would set up a live cam in their house so
With
people
cats?
could watch their kittens. That is some upsetting shit right there.
That's it. There's a lot of decisions that have to be made in order to arrive at that point, right?
People's obsession with kittens upsets me. Fuck cats. I said it. You heard me, cat lady listening.
Is this like a self-care segment or is that just your opinion?
That's just how I feel inside.
Okay. I mean, I'm pretty sure the feeling is mutual, right? Like cats like nobody.
I'm always pretty confrontational when I meet kittens.
You want to fight? Huh?
Yeah, getting a
Why are you looking at me like that?
What are you looking at, bitch ass kitty? And they're like, the fuck did that guy just say? And I'm like, fuck you.
Then they all start coming out of the woodwork.
right. The other cat's like, no, man, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Forget it.
Although, to be fair, if we wanted to become millionaires, we should start Kitten Con. I have a feeling
Oh, guaranteed that
that is an
exists
upsetting
somewhere.
idea that would launch us into the financial stratosphere.
If we want to make like the most interesting radio ever, like we can all sit here and Google on our phones right now and find out like where the nearest like Kitten Con is, because I guarantee there's one in every state already.
Probably.
Because society is diseased and not worth saving. Bring the nukes.
People are the fucking worst. Hit us up if you have just an amazingly unhealthy lifestyle or coping mechanism. That'd be great. What's your thing?
Audience, on a scale of like watching videos of kittens taken from a live stream in some sort of sociopath's house to like overdosing yourself on like a cocktail of benzodiazepines, where do you fall?
How many of you have gone shopping on Ambien?
That's got to be a reality TV show, right? At some point, like Ambien shopping spree.
That would be an amazing show.
Right? I like. It would
Welcome
be,
back. Daryl's taken 60 milligrams of Ambien and has just been logged on to his Amazon Prime account. Let's see what happens. He's in crippling debt. He's got 8 credit cards on file. Let's see what happens.
I like the idea of just like turning somebody loose in a Walmart and like just following around with a camera and just like seeing the decisions they make in their like drug-addled state.
I'd buy a lot of food probably.
That's not nearly as interesting.
And basketball shorts.
There we go. That's just the right amount of weirdness.
That's ambient shopping. Wow, this guy bought 6 bags of pizza rolls and 4 pairs of basketball shorts.
He doesn't play basketball, and it is too cold for shorts.
But look at him go. He's purchasing quite confidently.
There's our next get-rich-quick plan. If the podcast doesn't work out, Ambien shopping.
Now he's walked up to a Coinstar and is trying to get his photo taken.
We should do that sometime. I'd be curious to see what I buy.
Take Ambien and go to Walmart?
Yes.
All right.
Listeners, if you're going to do this, make sure that you have a buddy. Right? Use the buddy system. Make sure that you've got somebody to stop you when things get too real.
That's you know what? That's something we should do for the audience. We should do like a Kickstarter or GoFundMe, right? GoFundMe, maybe we make the goal $1,000. Then we all take Ambien, or Muzzle and I take Ambien, while Hound is our moral arbiter /
Babysitter.
babysitter. And we'll go on a shopping spree at, should we do Walmart or Target?
Walmart's cheaper. We can get more.
It is. And I feel like it's lowbrow enough that we could probably move through without being noticed.
Right? Like, completely under the surface. Nobody would even bat an eye.
Nobody would bat an eye. So we'll take the $1,000 that people donate. Whatever we buy, we give away to the audience on like a raffle or something. That sounds like an amazing program.
Yeah. Signed.
Questionable legality, but let's
Signed.
do it.
Yeah. Here's that bag of grapes I bought.
Oh my God.
Your friend, Muzzle.
No. No, Hound, you have to make sure we stay away from like perishable produce. I don't want like 25 people to get like rotting lettuce with a Sharpie signature on it.
I kind of feel like, though, that would be like, you know, when there's a room that your little kids are not allowed to go into and you keep like edging them away from that, all they want to do is go into that room, right? So I foresee the end of this being that like, at the end of it is just me like trying to form like a one-man human wall against you and Muzzle. And I'm like, don't go there. And you're like, no, we want the carrots. We want the carrots.
That's what our fans want. Autographed carrots. You don't even understand, Hound.
You're not even my real dad.
I love how there's so many podcasts and YouTube pages, and they all have like these amazing, like, you know, we'll do a raffle and we'll give away a guitar. We'll do this and that. This one is send us money. We'll take a lot of Ambien. We'll go to Walmart.
We'll buy literal garbage and then send it to you. Thanks for listening, asshole.
We'll autograph it, and then we'll send it to like. So that means like whoever enters in the raffle does so knowing I might get an autographed box of detergent.
Baby formula.
Is this going to be like a, you know, the bargain bin, like, you know, DVD combo of like The Hangover 2 and 3, or
right? Who knows?
Is it going to be Tide Pods for some fucking millennial to chew on?
I think this is a great idea.
We still got to take him to an adult store.
That would be the sequel.
That will be the sequel. And we'll take it to the. Okay, part 2. we'll be take Ambien again and make him babysit us in a sex store. Once you and I have the filter removed.
I think we do that.
We
with
don't
the
have
portable
a
recorder.
filter anyway.
And then the raffle winners will get random sex toys that have again been signed.
That would probably be better than Walmart anyway.
I think for like gold subscribers, we do like, we have a portable like recorder, and like I have you guys explain what each of these things is.
That's a good idea.
Like your Ambien riddled state.
That's a good idea. I like that one. All right, listeners, we are going to do this at some point. We're going to figure out how to get some Ambien.
Look on his face. He's like, oh, shit.
Will you do that? Will you go with us to the store on Ambien? You'll have to drive us home.
Full disclosure, this would not be the first time I'd driven LevelZero home because of Ambien issues.
When did you do that before?
I mean, are we just going to throw you on blast here? Did
that really happen?
Huh? Yes. It was just the one time.
When?
You were like, can you give me a ride home? There was one time in particular I remember that you were like, I can't remember. It was like,
was that when you drove the ambulance to my apartment to wake me up?
No, that was to pick you up. That was to pick you up. That was fun times. Just the once, because you were apologizing. I was like, it's not a big deal. Remember, like, we don't live that far apart. And you were like, all right, whatever. I'll see you in the morning. I was like, we're not there yet, buddy. You seriously don't remember this?
I was probably on Ambien.
We got to a stoplight and you reached for the side thing and I had to lock it. Okay.
I was at work on Ambien?
No, it was right after work.
I took Ambien before we left work?
Yeah. Because you were like, I can't get through this shit. Because we had a bunch of reports and you were like, listen, I'm just going to pop one of these. I was like, oh, sure, fine. And like, we were both there for like another half hour. And then you're like, I don't think I should probably be driving.
I don't remember that.
I swear to God, I'm not gaslighting here. Like, this is for real. Like, that's okay. It was a treasured memory for me. Sorry, I guess it was just for one of us. But it was.
All right. Well, it's been a productive morning so far.
Welcome to your comforting safe space for students. Today's advice: consider that working on an ambulance is not only stressful, but it can be costly. All the equipment has to come from somewhere, and your preceptor may be rightly concerned about the amount of money being spent. Show that you're not only an experienced care provider, but frugal as well by reusing your gloves. The more you use them, the more respect you'll gain from everybody else on scene. This has been your comforting safe space for students.
Nice. Well, it's 2018 now, and I'm really hoping that some of the discussions that was being had in the EMS community last year has died and will never come back.
Like what?
Oh, like all the dipshits that want to carry firearms on the ambulance.
Yeah.
That blows my mind.
Now, it sounds like a solved problem. I'm sure we'll never hear about that again.
You hear people say that almost more than you hear them talk about body armor, which makes infinitely more sense.
Yeah, very few times that I even thought about needing body armor in the field. 0 times did I say, this situation would be better with a firearm.
You could pretty much guarantee that 100% of EMS providers that would take a shot, it will be a bad shoot.
Probably.
That's the problem. And it seems like almost everybody that is shouting about it is like the type of person that just fucking jerks their dick reading like to the Second Amendment. Like they just pull it up on their, iPad or whatever, and they just crank out that easy one while reading.
But they just see like the 18th century handwriting and immediately get rock hard.
Yep. God. There's no thought put into it more than I want to carry a firearm. Okay. Well,
how's that going to enhance your ability to make people less dead?
There was a EMT the other day, not a student either, a cleared EMT that asked what VTAC was. And I'm certain that if you were to go on his Facebook wall, there's more than one post advocating that EMS carry handguns. And it's like, oh my God. You can't even be trusted to save a person's life, much less take it. I think it's a stupid argument.
No, a friend and I were just talking about this the other day, and one of the things he pointed out is that a lot of the people who are advocating for EMTs and paramedics to have concealed carry or even just open carry, they don't really talk a whole lot about the training you would need, right? As if the weapon itself is somehow sort of a deterrent, right? As if like I'm in the back of an ambulance with somebody who has nothing to lose and they decide that they're going to attack me. Now both of us are trapped in this small space with a gun. I don't have a gun. We both have a gun near us. And my partner is up front just trying to fucking listen to Daft Punk while they're driving us to the hospital for this psych call. And suddenly, there goes their frontal lobe and we all die, right? Like this is, people don't tend to think about this all the way through. Like, what's the training you would actually need in order to have a gun? I think you're right. They're like, I think it'd be neat to have one with me.
And to be honest, it's the most successful law enforcement officers I've ever worked with. All were masters at verbal de-escalation. Listen, if you're in the back of an ambulance and that situation is so beyond your ability to control it that a firearm needs to be involved, then you are shit at your job.
Yeah. Like,
pack it up, go work at the courthouse as a security guard, because this is not for you.
lots of things have gone wrong at that point.
If you want to be a law enforcement officer, then go be a law enforcement officer. You look at, how many issues those dudes are dealing with shoots. And granted, there are quite a few that are bad shoots, but not all of them. And now, anytime a cop shoots somebody, even completely justified, body cam footage showing they were justified, they get fucking eaten alive, even though they were in the right. It's like they have the right to, protect themselves and get home to their family, and situations are dangerous. Okay, so if the guys who, that's their job, if they're dealing with that many problems, then you take and give that responsibility to somebody with probably even less training. And
less knowledge.
What EMS should be doing, I think that they should invest in body armor. And I think that they should invest more time in teaching people how to verbally de-escalate somebody. And if it's that bad of a situation, call the fucking cops.
Right.
But I don't even understand how it's an argument, honestly. I'm all for Second Amendment rights. Don't get me wrong.
But there's not a place on the ambulance. A gun should not be on the ambulance.
No, I've met 3 people maybe, and they were also cops. So it's like that what you could trust reliably to have a firearm and not fuck with it or
have something go wrong.
How many times have you guys been on the ambulance and shit went south and it surprised you and things got a little squirrely and, you had to restrain the patient and, the patient's kicking and throwing punches and, trying to spit and bite at you. And if you put yourself in that situation and then go, would that have been better with a gun? Guaranteed the answer is no.
No.
You hear the headlines now. Ambulance responds to medical emergency, shoots patient.
Right. Well, and I think
declared dead on scene by second ambulance that had to respond. Right. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I think a lot of people who want the guns, either they've had an experience in the past that really spooked them, right? And they're like, oh, if I had a gun, that never would have happened, which is unprovable. But 2, it's a lot of everybody's the hero of their own story, right? And the narrative in their head is that, well, if that happened to me, I would, fucking Jean-Claude Van Damme, ninja flip out of the way, and I'd pull the gun in slow motion, and it would, slow down to bullet time, matrix speed, and, Skrillex is, wailing in the background while I, expertly, blow off the guy's trigger finger, and everything's fine. And then at the end of it, I'm like, I'll have what he's having. Everybody's
John Wick in their own mind.
Right.
Everybody believes they have this astounding amount of talent and ability, which is not true. You look at a lot of the firearm engagements by law enforcement officers when they've had to use deadly force. The amount of rounds that they'll put down range versus the amount of rounds that hit sometimes is not a really top-notch ratio. And then you give it to somebody who...
Yeah, exactly. If you want to be an expert marksman who can act coolly under pressure, then maybe working on the ambulance is not the environment for you. Maybe you should be putting those skills to better use somewhere else. But it's supposed to be hypothetically about making people marginally less sick or marginally less injured. And if you're bringing a weapon into it, you're going in there with the expectation of hurting somebody.
I don't know. I could tell you this, though. If I got to carry a firearm at work, I would never take a fucking lay call ever again for any reason.
Not absolutely true.
Because here's the thing, too. You have a single year in which EMS starts carrying handguns and they start having shoots. Then all of a sudden you turn EMS into this, public enemy.
No, for sure.
I just don't see it going well.
Then they won't call 911. It's good. Then we sit and watch our movies in the ambulance.
That's true. You may have just accidentally proposed the solution to overworking.
Yeah.
Just make EMS something that nobody wants to use because we're now an active danger to our patients.
There you go. Well, 911 calls have dropped dramatically
since the paramedics started shooting people near the end of their shift.
It's February and there's already been 318 shootings by EMS personnel. Dispatchers have completely removed the alpha level calls as nobody calls for those things anymore.
Yeah, you may have stumbled upon something diabolically brilliant here.
And refusals will go up too. Sign that motherfucker. Sign it!
Just to make sure you're doing this under your own free will. You don't want to go to the hospital for your flu-like symptoms. Am I understanding that correctly?
Please sign here that you have been informed of all the risks associated and that you're not signing under duress.
No, I think you hit on it, Muzzle. This is actually a secretly brilliant idea.
All right, I've changed my tune. All EMS should carry firearms.
Oh dear.
I'm not like that scenario I was running through my head, about like what the call would be like if I had a gun. I'm suddenly like evaluating like what all my hospital interactions and all my like fire department and supervisor and all those interactions would be like if everybody was just strapped. And I gotta say, it's a lot more like a John Wayne movie.
I think of some of the partners that I've had, and I'm like, dear God, if that person had a gun, I'd be running.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They
would just get into the ambulance and like, where's my partner?
They'd be the ones.
I haven't seen her.
Like that you hear they have it in their belt and they bend down and shoot themselves. That would be some of the partners that I've had.
God.
Or there'd be those crews like, we need you to do a SWAT standby. Yeah, we'll see about that. I'll clear this fucking call. I'll make sure the scene is safe.
Yeah. We are tactical EMS. God, can you imagine how obnoxious EMS as a field would be if everybody considered themselves tactical EMS? Holy fuck.
That is the most American shit, though, that we would want our paramedics to be more heavily armed than London police officers.
Yep.
I just like the thought of like a paramedic that can't hit an IV for shit. All of a sudden now wants to show up to work with a 40 cal. It's like, there's zero ways this is going to go bad. There's no possible way it can go wrong.
I miss the IV. Don't worry, though. I think I got this shot.
I mean, I even was watching I don't know, I was reading an article or something that was saying that even law enforcement agencies aren't providing their officers with enough training. Like, these guys need, people are like, oh, we should carry guns. And it's like, no, maybe we should put more money into training for our law enforcement. You know what I mean? Like, those guys need and deserve training.
Yes.
And then we're out here like a bunch of dipshits like, oh, hey, I was just wondering, maybe I should carry a gun because you never know. Yeah, you never know when that post-ictal patient's going to pull out a fucking Tech 9 and start blasting me. And it's like, what are you doing that's just showing up on these fucking scenes? I get it. Sometimes you show up on a scene that nobody predicted it was going to be the way it was, or,
yeah,
or whatever. But it's like, how many people are finding themselves in a situation where they're like, if only I had a gun.
Right. There's only one thing that can get me out of this. It's a gun. Just wear vests, right? If you're going to advocate, if you're going to go down like the tactical EMS route, you should actually be advocating for everybody to have like good vests and not weapons.
Guns.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we're the people that drive ambulances into like Wiener Schnitzel drive-thrus and get it stuck. Like this, you know what I mean? It's like, slow your horses, everybody. Change professions. Right. If you want it that bad, go be like a part-time sheriff's deputy or something and do the training and do the job. Stop trying to turn EMS into something different.
I mean, in EMS.
Patient, I guarantee you, bedside manner and people's ability to deal with patients is going to change dramatically. Instead of trying to verbally de-escalate someone, you're just going to be like, why don't you shut the fuck up and get in the ambulance?
No, I
learn how to talk to your patients, you fucking no-talent asshats. Why don't you learn some bedside manner? Learn how to verbally de-escalate your patient. I even wonder about those dudes, the paramedics and EMTs that wear like the police belt sans gun. It's like, What do you need? What are you doing, big guy? What is that? I got my gloves in here. I've got my flashlight in here. I've got my knife in here. I've got my compass in here. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? I think it's just people who have a hard time getting laid that just think, if I walk into this Wendy's with a stethoscope and a handgun, I'm for sure going to land some trim.
Oh my God.
Right. Well, we'll ask Muzzle. How turned on would you be by a gentleman with a stethoscope and a handgun?
I wouldn't.
What would that profession even be? Your job would just be public safety. What's your job? I'm a public safetyer.
Safety.
Stupid. Well, this has been fun alienating probably half of my audience.
Let's go high. Let's say 33%.
I don't know.
Let's say better of our audience. It's been
Listen,
a third
buy
of them.
guns, own guns. I'm all for it. I hate this fucking planet.
This is your self-care tip of the week. Working in EMS is a hectic lifestyle and doesn't leave a lot of time to tend to the home front. Your tip of the week is to take Ambien before bed, but don't go to bed. Start cleaning. Shortly after, your brain will shut down, but your body will keep going, waking up pleasantly surprised to a clean home and having a full night's sleep. This is your self-care tip of the week.
You know what I miss?
What's that?
LevelZero. I miss the 5 minutes each day during our shift that we wouldn't actually be running our dicks off. And we actually got to sit there and watch a show together for a few minutes on our phone, little e-reader, whatever it was we brought along.
It was a Nook.
Sweet.
It was a Nook.
It was like a first generation.
That's right. Yeah, I used to bring my Nook and sometimes read, but mostly we would watch Netflix on it.
We spend most of our time trying to set the fucking thing up because I'd have to set up a wireless hotspot from my phone. Then you'd have to connect to that wireless. We'd have to park somewhere specific or drive around until I got a strong enough signal. Then
Yeah.
we'd have to plug the tablet into the ambulance so that we could hear the fucking show over the diesel. And then by the time we got all that done, we watched about 48 seconds before we got another call.
Except we would always watch it on the way to the call because they were
course
like, hey, listen, we went to all this trouble.
Now we gotta watch
Now
it.
we got to watch some of it. Get there. What was this for anyway? I don't know. Something about shooting. Dispatch said something about staging.
Copy dispatch on that cardiac arrest. You can hear Family Guy in the background.
Na 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 na.
Wow. Yeah. Or what was that terrible ghost show that Ghost Adventures.
Ghost Adventures. Yeah. It was like Ghost Hunters, but more adventurous.
Oh. Can't say I watched that one.
It's Ghost Adventures hosted by like a Guido. It's pretty,
Yeah.
it's pretty amazing.
Oh, is that the one where they get locked into a place overnight
Yeah, that's the one.
and they
Interesting.
try to piss off the ghost?
That's
Yeah.
you're 100% correct.
Okay.
They lock themselves in and start talking shit, which is interesting because their very first, before they had their show, they did a documentary. So they locked themselves in. They started talking shit. Something got thrown at them, so they jumped out a window.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the documentary actually features footage of them running in a blind, sympathetic, nervous system panic, dashing down a hallway and leaping out a window to escape.
Lock the door so we can't get out. Oh, it's scary. Get out the window. They climb down a fire escape. It's so you lock us in. We're going to talk shit. And the moment the ghosts say, hey, look, we're not having it, dude. You're like, get out any way possible.
Yeah, we used to watch kind of an unhealthy amount of Ghost Adventures over our partnership.
Which is interesting because we're both skeptics. So we both were like, this show's such bullshit. And then we would quietly lock our doors.
To keep the ghosts out.
Keep the ghosts out.
Because that's going to help.
Because in the middle of the night when you're posted west side, it's 2 a.m. and there's no street lights because those interfere with your Wi-Fi. Suddenly it's, we lock the doors and we say to ourselves, this is to keep the homeless people out, but we both know.
You're not afraid of the homeless people.
And not as much as ghosts, apparently.
We watch some of that Ghost Adventures. I'd step out to smoke a cigarette. I'd be like, why don't I just turn these floodlights on in all directions? That was some creepy shit. Even if it was fake, that shit was creepy. I hate those, when they do the, what is it? When they capture the voices in the white noise or whatever.
Oh, yeah. You're
That
talking about the
box.
spirit box. Yeah.
EVPs.
Oh, the EVPs is when
That's different.
Yeah, that's when they're just like recording in the background. They're like, this will only show up, when we magnify it and run it through like 18 levels of audio editing software. Yeah, those are annoying.
Well, some of them are stupid, and it's obvious. It's like, okay, that guy scratched his balls, and they found a way to make it sound like the ghost is saying some nonsense statement. Like, wait, did you hear that? It sounds like he's saying, the bank is over there. There is a bank 3 miles north in that direction. You're like, what the? That's bullshit.
But in 1895, this whole land would have been cleared and he would have been able to see the bank. So this proves it was a ghost.
Yeah, Ghost Adventures was interesting. They just lock in and just start talking shit and then get upset when the so-called spirits would talk shit back. They walk in there like, you don't scare me, you fucking ghost. And then the ghost would inevitably scare the shit out of them.
Right. Yeah, it was amazing. It was basically like confirmation bias, the show. Like everything that they saw, they were like, this must be a ghost. Oh man, and like you bumped that door on the way out. We all saw it on camera. No, I couldn't have bumped it that hard. It's ghosts. It was amazing. I loved it.
Do you have any ghost stories? Anything ever happened to you?
Yeah, but ironically, the creepiest part had nothing to do with the ghost. I ran to a facility for another crew that had forgotten their paperwork, so I stopped by to grab it real quick to bring it to them. And I went up there by myself, and I was walking down the hall, and it's like 3:30 in the morning, and an old man in like a blue suit and like brand new white tennis shoes was walking down the hallway towards me. And you go to these like shitty nursing facilities, you're like, well, why wouldn't a resident be able to wake up, fully dress himself in a business suit and start wandering the halls at 3 a.m. without somebody noticing? It makes the upsetting part is it makes too much sense that would happen.
Right. Like nobody would bat an eye at the fact that this person has just been neglected for long enough to accomplish these tasks.
Nobody was holding down the fort in the dementia ward, and Harold was able to completely don his Sunday best and just start walking around at 3 a.m. And so anyways, he passes me and I was like, hey, he kind of nodded his head and smiled at me, and I kept walking. And then I swear to God, a quadruple amputee midget scampered across the floor so fast. I don't even know how it moved. It was like from its head to like its pelvis and chest, and it was like, it was like a weird legless crab just scampered across the floor, went into its room, and then I heard a soda open. He had no arms or legs. How did he open the soda? And then I just saw his little white eyes staring out at me. Scared the shit out of me. Anyways, he was real, and the old man was a ghost. So
it's actually scarier that this dude is real, right? Like this is like something out of Todd Browning's Freaks. This is not okay.
Yeah, well, but I told everyone about the midget because it was terrifying. 3 a.m. to see this small thing scamper across the floor, disappear into the darkness, and then open a soda. It was terrifying. What else can it do? What's going to happen to me? Like, is it territorial? Is it aggressive? What is happening? And so I never brought up anything about the old man in the blue suit because you see weird shit all the time where you go to those places, you're just like, oh, no one's checked on you for hours, huh? Because you just been out here staring at that ice machine, just glazed over, no idea what's going on. Right. So that stuff, I never said anything about it. And then I was typing my reports a few months later, one morning, trying to finish my reports so I could go home. And I heard a bunch of like the old timers talking about this facility. And I'm not a part of the conversation. They're not, I've told nobody this. There's no reason. And they start talking about the ghost that wanders around this place. He rides his fucking bicycle on the roof apparently and walks around the grounds. And, they had almost an identical experience, except,
they didn't have the midget.
Well, yeah, they didn't have the midget. So it wasn't as scary for them. But they described it to a T. Old man in a blue suit and white tennis shoes. And I immediately just wrote delivered patient to hospital in same condition and transmitted a report and fucking bounced. I was like, nope, this is not okay. I don't like ghosts. Fuck, nope. I don't like them.
Nope.
Go away. Don't be here. Why would you be here? This place sucks. I fucking hate ghosts. If it was a ghost of like gives you bags of money for free, like if I just woke up one night in the middle of the night and there was just a ghost and he was just like, what's going on, man? I'd be like, are you a ghost? He's like, yeah, but it's cool. I'm just here to give you this bag of money.
It's fine.
It'll solve all your problems. If I had a gun in my hand, I'd blow my head off. Get out of my life. I don't want to. But then again, I'd also kind of want to be a ghost. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
But as long as I don't meet other ghosts. Leave me the fuck alone.
But they probably think the same thing about people. Like, fuck, get the fuck out of here.
Well, then stop opening the cupboards, you nosy fucks. You know what I mean? Build your own economy. Build your own place to live. Dipshit, you died. You don't live here anymore. You don't pay for it. Leave.
Get a job.
Go open someone else's cupboard, you fucking entity. Like, it's just...
Listeners, LevelZero is getting legitimately indignant about this. This is not an act. He's
His
actually
face
angry.
is turning red.
Turn on my lights. Turn them off. Turn on the water. Turn it off. Fuck you. I just don't like them.
It's a strong stance to take.
I don't like it. Even if they're not real. I don't like the idea of them. I don't like the stories. Half of those stories can be attributed to like, what is it, shitty wiring?
So the place that you're talking about specifically where this took place, has a reputation for like weird sort of goings on. And one of the things that they used to talk about is like, oh my gosh, the call lights will go on and off, but they haven't been hooked up for years. And that's something you can really just go, cool. Like you've got some bad wiring, it flickers, like guaranteed.
Yeah, there's an explanation for it.
Right. Yeah. I would say the vast majority, I wouldn't even say half, I'd say the vast majority of stories like that are really just stories about like, here's something weird that happened that I couldn't explain. And now that I already know that this place is supposed to be haunted, it's easier for me to think that. Once in a while you get weird shit like, upsetting midgets who can either open a can with their teeth. I'm stuck on that. This dude either has learned how to open a can with his teeth, but then what does he do with it?
Straw.
Straw. But how does he get the straw? Right? Like this, it just keeps going deeper. Right? Like there's more problems the more we dig into this. Or there's a person, this is the creepiest part of your story, Zero, which you didn't even address, is that maybe there's another person in that room that you didn't see whose whole job is to just sit there and like open cans for this person. Right? It's just like this person who does nothing except open cans for the amputee. And otherwise they do nothing else. That bothers me.
I don't know. I maintain that room was empty, save for the midget who has adapted to this world so profoundly well, but still has to live in this home. What the fuck happened? What happened? This guy moved across the floor with no limbs and barely a torso, opened a soda. This guy should work for fucking NASA. Just figuring shit out.
Yeah.
How do we do this? I don't know. Ask Ned. Ned's figured out how to do everything. He has no arms or legs. Troubleshoot this, Ned. And he just nails it, And I hate that place. And I've hated that place ever since. In fact, when I told you about that story, the next time we went, both of our little heads popped out of the elevator before we started walking out. We just looked down the hallway. Is he
very
here?
true.
Well, and then that elevator has where you can solid. The walls aren't solid, so you can see the movement.
Oh,
I don't like that.
Yeah, the old timey sort of like cage elevator that you can actually see yourself moving through the floors.
Yep.
Yeah. Designed by somebody who had no idea how creepy that would look 80 years later. Yeah,
I'm sure some people dig it. I did not dig it.
No.
I did not like it.
I recall.
Have you ever had anything happen?
I've had some weird stuff happen that like, I always tell this like it's a ghost story because I love ghost stories. Like Zero hates ghost stories. I love ghost stories, right? I don't believe any of them are true, right? And it's never a judgment of like, nah, you're full of shit. I don't believe you. It's just like, nope, there's always an explanation. But that being said, yes, we did lock the doors at 2 a.m. just in case.
Ghosts can't get past locked doors on Ford Eco lines. It's proven by science.
Yeah, that's a true science fact. Ghost can't get in, but
ain't getting in this E350, bro.
Too smart for you. I did have an experience when I first started working for the ambulance. I was actually working as the supplies person, the person who would like clean up the ambulance and restock it and everything. Because a lot of places, right, like you come back to base and then you put all your own shit back in the ambulance.
I remember those days.
But when I started working for this ambulance company, they had a job where there was just a person whose job it was to clean up the ambulance, wash it off, and, clean it out on the inside. And it was a real great way to sort of dissuade you from going into this field if it wasn't what you wanted to do, because you spent like the first 3 to 6 months of working for this company cleaning up the grossest, most terrible aftermath of everybody else's worst calls. So when I started working there, the guy who trained me to do this was a guy who was at the time very into Native American spirituality. And he pulled me aside and said, listen, there's a lot of bad energy that gathers around these ambulances and it doesn't have a place to go. And I said, okay. And he said, so just look out for the shadow people. And I said, all right.
So that sounds like hazing.
Like that's exactly what I thought, right? I was like, okay, fucking with a new guy. He goes, no, they'll just wander around. It's spirits that like they die in the ambulance and they don't have anywhere else to go. And they'll just show up from time to time and they don't want to do anything. They'll just see them out of the corner of your eye and they just want to be acknowledged, and just tell them, I see you, and they'll go away. And I went, okay. All right. Thank you. Thanks. Okay. I get it. And we didn't talk about it the rest of the night. And for the next 6 months, I did what is the worst job I have ever had. The worst. I was almost done, and I'm putting together these speed loaders where we put all these supplies into a little plastic bin and then vacuum seal them so that you can tell if they've been open. And I'm sitting at the counter doing this, and I see somebody out of the corner of my eye walk by. This is the middle of the night. It's like 2, 3 in the morning. There's nobody else at the station. Dispatch is upstairs, but they're behind, locked doors, all the way away. Nobody else is in here. And somebody walks by, and I think it's somebody who's here for supplies. So I go, hey, what's up? What do you need? They don't answer. So, whatever, put my earbuds back in, and keep doing things. Go wash out an ambulance, everything, come back, start putting together some more supplies, see somebody walk by out of the corner of my eye again. And I say, what's going on? Kind of walk out in the bay, go, hey, if you need something, just come hit me up. Tell me what you need. Nothing. Nobody there. So I call up to dispatch and say, hey, these guys here to pick up supplies? They go, nope, nobody's here. I go, who's the soup? He's out on the bus. I'm like, no, he's not. Like, somebody's here. Somebody's definitely here because they're walking around down here. No, it's just you, man. All right, whatever. So I put my earbuds back in and I'm listening now and I'm watching, right? Because I'm like, somebody's fucking around with me, right? They're gonna like, jump out and be like, bah! So I'm looking and I see again somebody walks just to the side out of the corner of my eye, and they're walking in such a way that they would hit a chain link fence that forms like a wall of this corridor that leads down to the counter where you pick up your supplies. And so I turned and spun and said, hey! And the chain link fence goes as if somebody just slapped it really hard. But there's nobody there. So of course I did what anybody would do at that time. I turned my earbuds up. I see you! Just turned on my earbuds and started loudly singing along with the music, which used to be the end of the story.
Wait, it used to be the end of the story?
But years later, when Zero and I were partners, this would have been about 6-7 years later when Zero and I were partners, we came back from a shift and two of the people who are doing this job now were telling that same story. And I like sitting out there. It's now like 6 a.m. when we get back and they're talking to each other about this. And I I'm like, oh, you guys are telling my story. They go, no, man, this shit happened last night to one of them. So that's my maybe ghost story.
I like the idea that someone was pranking you and that there exists a hidden camera recording of you walking around in the middle of the night going, I see you! I see you!
What about you? You have any ghost stories?
A couple.
Hers are creepy, though. See, part of me, though, too, also likes to think, like, if I run into a ghost, an intelligent entity that can communicate, not an imprint, but a spirit trapped, then I would ask it such weird questions that it feels creeped out and leaves me alone forever.
Yep, you would.
Show me your tits or get the fuck out.
That's going to be him when...
You're going to be the worst ghost.
I died in the 1700s. Shut up. Show me your tits or get the fuck out.
Do you think
Okay, I won't go into detail for the one, but a traumatic event happened to a little boy, ended up dying, and his spirit followed my ex home. So I woke up in the middle of the night, and of course the news and all that, they didn't have the picture of the kid up or anything yet. So I wake up and there's a little boy in my room. My kids are grown. Certainly not one of my kids. And I'll never forget his bright blue eyes. So then the next morning, the news had told this story and they showed the picture of the kid. And I was like, that's the boy I was talking to in my room last night. But
Whackity smackity do.
Yeah,
This has been a comedy bit by Muzzle.
it'd be real upsetting though, right? Was this upsetting supernatural eye glowy blue?
no, not like, I mean, it was his real eye color.
Just bright blue.
Just very bright blue. And then when I saw the picture, it's like, oh God, that was him.
Hey, listen, guys. I don't want to be that guy, but this is creeping me out. So
Shut up.
You know what we should do? We should totally have our listeners send in ghost stories. Like their EMS related ghost stories. I would eat that shit up. We need that.
So I would read it reluctantly.
We'll have story time.
Yeah, for real. That would be fun. I think we should do that.
Definitely.
So send us in an email with your stories of tragic ghost encounters and whimsical ones about your unhealthy lifestyle. This show's getting weird already. I feel like we need to briefly talk about something a little lighter because that is a weird way to end that segment.
Sorry, that just happened to be.
I need to get like a clown horn. Like, or whatever. So I woke up and I saw this little boy in my room. He was scared of my boyfriend. I asked him, "Are you scared of him?" And he said yes.
Oh, Jesus.
That's a good one.
Some of that. This has been Ghost Talk.
I was just so sad for this little boy. I wanted to let him know he could be in peace. Oh, God. Just every time she says something just super dark. And it's like, this is a comedy. I'm just going to. Well, I think that just about does it for us today. So now I will let people know too that they're going to be hearing all these podcasts at once. We've obviously spaced these recordings out for quite a while. There's a lot of things we've asked you to email us in that we released all at once. So send us in all your stories and we'll try to sift through them. And hopefully you enjoy the bundle that we're releasing in the beginning. And then it'll be a weekly show. we're still talking about possibly doing a second podcast of basically bloopers and outtakes and random conversations that got off the rails. A shorter show, but would be fun for people to listen to. Like maybe make like a premium podcast or something.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tight ship, but believe it or not, there is a little bit of wasted time here and there where we just go off the rails.
It is occasional. I'm upset at how much easier it was today since we didn't drink. That's a blow to my plan on how we were going to run this ship. Let's just get drunk and podcast. Those were all like 12-hour days in which we got 40 minutes of usable material. It didn't... That makes for a rough post-production. So remember, email us in. What is it now? Tell us your funny sex injury stories, ghost stories. What else? Send us in funny stories. And if it doesn't fall into any of the categories, send it anyways. Fuck it. Just send in your funny shit, and we'll try to talk about it. Anyways, guys, we hope you had a good time. I know that we sure did. And we'll catch you next time.
See you guys.
Bye, everybody.
Medic 67, sorry, but I need you for a late call.
I would rather be a human pincushion for an entire class of EMT students starting their very first IV than run your late call. Please show me out of service. You guys take care of yourselves, take care of each other, stay safe. We'll catch you next time.
Damn, son, isn't that enough?